Trying to get Wi-Fi battles lately has been pretty difficult because for the past 3 days, all the battles I've had have been me getting destroyed, me destroying my opponent, or the battle just disconnects, which means no content for y'all. Luckily though, last night I got this pretty good showdown battle while in call with some of my friends, and I want to give a big thanks to my boy Kiyo who made me this awesome team preview. I'll leave his channel link down in the description, guys. Highly recommend you to go check him out. Anyways, looking at threats on my opponent's side of the field, if he gets rid of my Tyranitar and gets rid of my Bronzong, Latios, every free switch in will basically destroy my team. So honestly, Latios is kind of the only one threat I'm worried about, but as long as I have Bronzong and Tyranitar around, I really shouldn't be too worried about it. So I'm going to be leading off on Mungus, as he's going to be leading off for the Breloom. Obviously, I know he's going to go straight for the Spore, and I decided that Keldeo was kind of going to be the least helpful thing to me in this battle, so I chose that to be my sleep fodder, as I'm going to switch directly back into my Mungus. He is just going to go for the Swords Dance, as he then just stays in, which tells me he obviously doesn't want anything else on his team being put to sleep, which I guess is kind of a good thing that I put Breloom to sleep, but as long as I have a Mungus around, honestly, Breloom is not a factor whatsoever. And then he's going to make a very good play and actually scout out for the Stun Spore by staying in, and knowing that he obviously doesn't want anything else on his team being status, I'm going to stay in and go straight for the Hidden Power Fire and get off a good amount of damage on the Breloom, and knowing that I can take him out next turn and just put something else to sleep, he's going to make a good play into his Rachi, and judging from that damage, I know that he's going to be specially defensive, which means I don't have to worry about him setting up Substitute and going for Calm Minds, and I can just freely go for a Sun Spore, as I'm able to hit it. He did crit me with the Body Slam, but he didn't get the Paralysis, which is really good. So this turn, not wanting to take another Body Slam or a possible Fire Punch, I decided to switch directly into my Bronzong, which, yes, I know I said I need to keep Bronzong around, but as long as I have Tyranitar at full HP, I should still be able to deal with Latios accordingly, and this is my perfect opportunity for me to get up with Stealth Rocks, as he does get up his own rocks, which automatically tells me this Tyranitar is more than likely going to be Choice Bandit or Choice Scarf. So I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake, as he decided to switch directly into Tyranitar, and I'm just going to stay in, see what he wants to lock himself into as he goes for the Crunch. Obviously, judging from the damage, this thing is definitely Choice Banded, and I don't want to take another one, so I'm going to switch into my own Tyranitar. And unfortunately, Gyro Ball actually didn't do more than Earthquake, which I was kind of surprised about, but then again, Tyranitar is fairly slow unless it's Scarf, so yeah, I guess it isn't too surprising. But knowing that he would want to switch out, obviously fearing the superpower, I'm going to go for the Crunch, as he actually brings in the Landorus, and I just barely failed to knock it out. But I do have a specially defensive Rotom, so honestly, Landorus is not a problem whatsoever so long as I hit my Hydro Pump. And knowing that I can't take a Focus Blast, I'm going to stay in and go for Hydro Pump, but he goes for Psychic, and then I miss Hydro Pump. And I guess he carries Psychic over Focus Blast because obviously he doesn't want to miss Focus Blast, which it is a bit odd to carry Psychic on Landorus, but hey, to each their own, I suppose. So he's actually going to go for the Rock Polish on my rest, and thanks to my Chesto Berry, I'm able to wake up, and then the following turn, knowing that I can't take a Psychic, I'm just going to stand and go for the Hydro Pump, but I miss again. But it's fine because I'm going to get rewarded by Base God, and he's going to get min damage on the Psychic, as I'm going to be able to knock him out with the Hydro Pump. So in the end, it was a double down, but really Rotom wasn't going to prove to be too much use to me in this battle anyways. And knowing that he's not going to bring in Latios, obviously fearing the fact that I can bring in Tyranitar, I'm actually going to bring in my Amoonguss, knowing that he would bring in one of his other Pokemon besides Latios, if you get what I'm trying to say. And I'm just going to go straight for the Hidden Power Fire, as he obviously stayed in, thinking that I would go for the Sun Spore, but this now means that I can put something else on his team to sleep, as he brings in the Rachi, obviously judging for how much damage Hidden Power Fire did earlier. In the end, he could possibly win this one-on-one competition. So I decided to switch directly into my Bronzong, and unfortunately Tyranitar and Bronzong are really getting worn down now, which means that Latios is looking to be like an even bigger threat than it already was. So I'm just going to stay and just spam Earthquake until eventually I get enough damage on this Rachi to be able to bring in my Landorus, knock it out with an Earthquake, or possibly set up a Rock Polish or a possible Swords Dance, or just do something to try to get rid of this damn Rachi because it's really damn annoying. So I get paralyzed on a switch, which really doesn't matter because that extra damage that I would have got off with Earthquake doesn't really play a role at the end of the battle. And he's going to make a very risky play into Tyranitar, obviously banking on me getting paralyzed. Luckily though, I don't, and I'm able to take out the Tyranitar. Unfortunately, this now gives him a free switch into his Latios. And I'm just going to fodder off my Keldeo because with Breloom gone and Keldeo being asleep, again, Keldeo is just basically the least helpful thing to me on this team. As he goes for the Surf, he does reveal to me that he has the Life Orb, which means now, if he is carrying Hidden Power Fire, he will be able to knock out my Bronzong. and I think Draco knocks out Tyranitar at the amount of HP that I'm at. Unfortunately though, at the time of the battle, I really wasn't thinking straight and I was panicking a bit because this Latios can just plow through my team. So I switched directly into Tyranitar to pursue trap him. Unfortunately, Draco does take me out, which means now if this Latios does have Hidden Power Fire, he basically sweeps the remainder of my team. So here, wanting to bluff a Choice Scarf, I switched directly into my Landorus, and hoping that he would want to switch out, I'm actually going to go for the Rock Polish. And even if he had stayed in at -2, I'm pretty positive I would have been able to live a Surf or a Draco Meteor, just because this is a bulky Landorus. And after that Rock Polish, something on this team basically dies, because if he did want to bring in Latios on the Earthquake, then double out into Keldeo after the Stone Edge damage, I would bring him down to a point where Earthquake would be able to take out the Keldeo. And unfortunately, because I have leftovers as opposed to Life Orb, I cannot knock out this Keldeo with one Earthquake. So I decided to switch directly into my Amoonguss, which on hindsight, I should have left in Landorus just to get off a good amount of damage on the Keldeo instead of switching directly into my Amoonguss, because at this point Landorus really doesn't prove to be too much use to me. But unfortunately, I can't go back and make that play unplayed. But now knowing that I can freely spore something, I'm going to go for it, as he oddly enough switches into the Latios. So the fact that he brought it in has me thinking maybe he doesn't have Hidden Power Fire, because if he did have Hidden Power Fire, he would be able to knock on my Bronzong, but then again, that would also mean he doesn't have Recover. So I guess he thought Latios at this point was kind of the least helpful thing to him on his team, which I can see why, because, you know, Rocks, Life Orb, and Sandstorm is really racking up on it. As I bring in my Bronzong, I actually thought that he would wake up, and I decided just to fodder off my Bronzong, but no, he does stay asleep for another turn. As he now brings in the Keldeo, I'm just going to leave him Bronzong for fodder. Because at this point, all I really need is a free switch into my Amoonguss, click Giga Drain, and basically win the battle. So yeah, that's going to be the very, very narrow 2-0 victory in my favor. And my game plan to keep Tyranitar and Bronzong at as high amount of HP as possible really didn't go accordingly. Luckily though, I was still able to get rid of the Latios and pull out the victory. So I definitely hope you all did enjoy this really fun and good OU battle. If you did, you know what to do. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to see more content, do what you want, do what you please. With that, enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your day. And I have a surprise for you guys tomorrow for my upload. And I am out of here. Later.